Thanks for joining us for this podcast of The Universe is Your Therapist. We're excited to speak again with Dr. Jeana Hoyt, who's a medical doctor, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about how fast food, when we have toxic stress, can seem like an easy solution, or when we have toxic stress or trauma, why we are so drawn to carbohydrates and sugars and fats. So this episode, we'll talk a little bit about what the body craves under toxic stress and when having been affected by trauma. Thanks, Dr. Jeana, for joining us again. It's great to see you. And this time I see we did not wear matching shirts.
Hi, Lena. It's so nice to talk with you again.
Thank you. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what we were talking about right before we started recording, which is how we can get into this vicious cycle and then through no fault of our own, but then it's very difficult to break.
Okay.
Actually, hang on. You did not talk about that. Do you want me to ask a different question?
Sorry, I just have a tickle in my throat.
That's all
So I
right.
had to cut there for a second.
So do you want me to ask you a different question? Because you didn't actually really say those words.
No. Sorry.
It's okay.
I can answer the question. I just, oh my gosh, there is this big bad tickle. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Great. This is all on video. Lovely. Max will get
Well, it'll be edited out.
Oh my gosh. Max will get rid of all of this, right? Okay.
Yes, Max will.
Oh my gosh. And now my eyes are red. Okay. Woo. I need like Visine. Okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. So I am going to pick up from where you asked the question.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Well, Lena, when I think about fast food, I like to think about what's going in our lives behind the scenes that's driving us to maybe need fast food. There's a lot of different reasons that we might need to eat fast. And usually most of those reasons are stressful. So we might be really tired, we're exhausted, or we're in a hurry, we're in a rush, we don't have time. So we're feeling really pressed, or maybe we're feeling like we need an emotional break. And that's a way to kind of treat ourselves. Or sometimes we're just starving. And so those are all kind of stressful circumstances that might drive us to fast food when we might not normally have a planned outing or be planning to eat fast. Do you want to ask a question, Lena?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Because remember, my screen is all black.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. I was thinking about what you were saying earlier, Jeana, and contemplating that the reason I usually pick fast food is either because I'm so hungry and I can't, I don't have like the brain power to figure out a better option, or if I do have the brain power to figure out a better option, I just want something that's comforting.
Yeah, I've definitely been there before where you're just feeling a little bit foggy and you're like, I just know I need some calories, I need some glucose, I need something to help. That's definitely part of it. All of these situations that we're talking about here increase our cortisol levels a little bit. And cortisol is this hormone that comes from these little teeny tiny glands that sit on the top of our kidneys, and they produce our adrenaline and noradrenaline. And they pump this stuff out, this cortisol, that helps us be driven to seek out higher calorie, higher sugars, higher fat foods. And this was really helpful back in the day when we needed the cortisol to help us fight tigers or danger and things like that. We needed our muscles to be absolutely primed, and they need glucose to do that. And we needed our brain to be really sharp, and they need glucose to do that. So this is our body's way of saying you need something, and it kicks into this little bit of a fight or flight mode and causes us to start looking immediately for food. What can I grab? What can I get immediately that's going to help me feel better? And it's just a natural biological drive. That's the way I like to think of it when I'm wanting fast food.
One thing that I like to do, Jeana, when I'm trying to avoid
vast quantities of food.
vast majorities of fast food. Okay, 3,
Yes.
2, 1. One thing that I like to do, Jeana, when I'm trying to avoid fast food is I like to remember that anything that I eat from my house is way less money and is likely to be way healthier for me. It doesn't always work. It depends on how dysregulated I am emotionally and physiologically,
Mm-hmm.
but that is one thing that I try to
Yeah.
keep in mind. Unfortunately, I don't love a lot of fruit, but I love vegetables. And the vegetables I like to have them roasted or sautéed, and that takes a little bit of time, so it's
Ooh.
not super fast.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you
Mm-hmm.
recommend?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to give you some tips because what you said is so true. Almost without exception, you're going to consume a higher number of calories, lower nutritionally dense food, fast food. You're at home, you're almost without exception going to get more brain foods like lower calories, lower cost, which leads to better mood and less anxiety too for the financial reasons. So you're right, eating at home is definitely better, but we can't always, logic doesn't always work in those moments when we're activated, our cortisol's going, we're hungry, and we're in stress. So I'm going to give you tips to maybe do some things ahead of time that maybe it won't eliminate it, but like we always say, kind of like maybe it'll reduce it, that the feelings of running through that fast food line when you're having those moments. So one thing I like to do is have snacks in the car, and things that are stable in the car would be things like nuts. So I have just a little bag of sunflower seeds that I eat in the car. Trail mix, things that aren't going to go bad necessarily in a week or two, just sitting in a place in your car, so that when you're in those moments, you can eat them. They're very filling. And so you may have just what you need calorically to get you out of that mode, that emergency mode that you might be in, to get you home. On the drive home from work, I like to have saved from my lunch one baggie of vegetables that are already pre-cut, or an apple, so that I eat that on the way home. It helps me feel less guilty about fruits and vegetables in my meal when I know that I'm eating them on the way home. And it gets me away from the fast food lines that I'm driving past on the way home, and also gets me through dinner prep. So I'm more satisfied to get through and take the time it takes to dinner prep. My other tip is just to have some 5-minute dinners thought out on hand ahead of time that you can just throw together in literally 5 minutes. That's the same amount of time it takes to drive through a drive-through, even less in some cases. So this would be like bean dip with tortilla chips with a little bit of salad on the side, or rice and beans, pre-cooked rice with beans. A sandwich, even a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, is healthier for you and more of a brain food. Any kind of sandwich, turkey with avocado, that would be great brain food for you. Our newest thing that we're doing here at home is buying the naan that are pre-made and making pizzas on those. And that literally takes 5 minutes, a little bit of pizza sauce, some cheese, some toppings, vegetables, and we're done. So you're not going to eat like that every night, like a 5-minute meal. But when you're in that crisis mode, having those on hand, 5-minute meals already kind of thought out, can be really helpful. And it's sort of like the good, better, best. You know, You're not always going to eat at a 5-star restaurant or make a huge meal. Sometimes you need a 20-minute meal, and sometimes you literally do need a 5-minute meal. And if you have some of them planned out ahead of time, it can help prevent those from being fast food 5-minute meals. So our goal is just to help you. Sorry, let me start over. 3, 2, 1. So the goal is really just crisis management and having a few tools on hand beforehand to prevent those emergencies. It's really a win-win when we can lower our anxiety when we're already feeling anxious by eating healthy.
I love those suggestions, Jeana. Those are great. One thing I forgot to say that I do sometimes is I use my crock pot a lot. And here in
Mm-hmm.
the Midwest, it is very, very hot right now. And if I use my crock pot in the morning, then I have a meal to come home to and eat.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know that Instapot is really like those instant cookers. Sorry, let
Mhm.
me take that back because I think Instapot is a brand. So start that over. 3, 2, 1. I know that instant pressure cookers have really changed the way that people are able to prepare meals a lot quicker. So that's a great tip, using your crock pot, using your freezer. Use your freezer. It's great. Anytime you've cooked a meal and you have leftovers, soup or anything like that, it can go right in the freezer for a 5-minute meal with the grilled cheese or a sandwich.